Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Every bit of support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get to the video. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Dude, it's 2025. Neither of those are interesting. Look, you fat fuck. Okay, jeez. It's Xander Man. This is what we're doing? Okay, I'm interested. Oh my god, Xander Man attacked a dinosaur. Hey, this is pretty fun. This is different. I like this. Oh my god, Xander Man has teamed up with the Fantastic Four, and now he's playing a round of golf with Happy Gilmore. This is different. This is interesting. I like what we're thinking. He missed a movie, didn't he? He's so cringe. Fuck. But don't tell anybody, because Xander Man knows what you did last summer. What? That's just the name of the movie. That's so lazy. What the fuck? Oh my god, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4. Oh my god, It's Always Sunny and Gumball came back, and Dan was there for some reason. This month was crazy. July. I don't think I've had more things that came out in a month that I was truly excited for since probably March. July was big, man. And thanks to you guys, it's been big for my channel too. We went up in the world, 2,800 of y'all. I remember when I was impressed I had 200. So that number may be small to some, but not to me. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. It means the world to me, really. Back to July. Movies. I don't even have to say it. Marvel and DC went at it, and for the first time in years, DC actually had a film to compete with Marvel, rather than just being a film that existed in the same year as Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We have another contender for the best film of the year, though not quite to the extent of the last two times. Gaming-wise, still not a big month. I played 2 titles, and they weren't horrible, but one of them is the worst I've played this year, which, by the way, isn't really much of a standard. TV-wise, we got the return of a Cartoon Network classic, one of my favorite comedies, and quite a few reality shows, including one featuring a late legend. Well, this has been a wild month, so let's take a look at how it all stacks up. This is July 2025 Ranked. It's suddenly opposite day because we're talking about the greatest movie of all time, Smurfs Baby, absolute Smurfinima. Dude, what the hell? I mean, this already didn't look good. Like, not one trailer of this film looked even decent. But this is awful. Absolutely soulless. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with this, Paramount decided to be the, second company to mess up Smurfs. And for the third time, we have Smurfette voiced by a famous songwriter that doesn't fit her voice whatsoever. It's bad that Demi Lovato is the best voice actor for this character so far. It doesn't even matter. She's not even the main character. No joke. It's a new no-name Smurf voiced by James Corden, who was never shown in any trailer. James Corden! I'm not kidding, I was completely caught off guard when suddenly reason number 103 not to be British came on my screen, and suddenly became the main character. I don't think it's an understatement that the humor is outdated. The He's So Cringe poster, especially with his Jax film looking ass, says the most basic shit known to man. As I said, Rihanna is not good as Smurfette. She genuinely seems uninterested in the whole ordeal. It's just white noise, blue noise if you want. Something to keep kids entertained. Even then, I went to an empty theater. I'm glad parents are starting to realize maybe just because it's animated doesn't mean we need to show our kids it. This is absolutely brain dead. The only thing I could kind of say is Rihanna does have a song in there that does slap. But other than that, just overall the most brain dead animated film I've seen, and easily the worst animated film of the year for me. The worst game I picked up this month was Shadow Labyrinth. Now, this game was intriguing to me because it's based on the Pac-Man episode of the anthology series Secret Level. Now, I'll admit Secret Level's a bit flawed in a sense. I mean, there's an episode based on Concord and somehow saying that dates it. But the Pac-Man episode was really cool. So you know what that means? The game sucks. It's a Metroidvania title, and I'm sorry y'all, this genre just might not be for me. The map is way too damn confusing, and it's easy to go in circles, and the enemies can sometimes be overwhelming. These bosses are about as unpredictable as it gets. Any boss that takes me 15 to 20 tries, I'm not playing Dark Souls for a reason. Overall, I don't care for this one. It's not as bad as Mind's Eye, but it's not good either. Does anyone even care about that movie? Like, all of July's releases have a strong emotion from me. This film, I don't care. This shit looks like nothing, and they just revealed the old cast coming back in the trailer. I couldn't say that as a big reveal. Yeah, who the fuck cared? It's not even like the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies were much more than cult classics if they were lucky. And now we got a 2025 revival of the franchise that couldn't score higher than a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes. I Know What This Movie Did Last Summer, flopped. I never cared for these movies, and this one's about the same. Not even one of the worst movies I've watched this year, just complete fodder. The minute I saw the poster had Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt in front of the actual main cast, I know there was something wrong. It was to this franchise what Scream 5 was to the Scream franchise, a nostalgia trip for fans of the series. But the Scream fans exist, this one purely makes no sense. Not enough people cared about these films. Sorry y'all, I'm not a fan of this one. Alright, we're getting into decent territory. Big Brother, yep, probably the exact reality show that makes most normal people look at reality TV and say, no thanks, my brain functions. Big Brother is like if you took Survivor, gave it a coat of annoying paint, and just casted the most attention-hungry losers in the entire country. This isn't a reality show you watch for the heat of the competition, it's too silly for that. But that is what makes Big Brother so fun. It's not as serious as Survivor or any of these other reality competitions. So far, I'd say Big Brother 27 is a solid season. The Mystery Hotel theme really works for the house. The cast isn't the worst. I will say I like the 26 or 24 cast more. The return of the queen of Big Brother herself, Rachel Riley, was genuinely a jaw-dropping moment. She has won a season. It's actually crazy that she's back. I assume she'll get far because people are stupid, so I'm gonna have to get used to her all over again. Overall, this is solid stuff, not an amazing season like Prime Big Brother would give me, but considering the downfall of this series has faced since Big Brother racism, I feel like it's better than it deserves to be. Hey, wanna see my impression of the Jurassic franchise?
Ooh, Jeff Goldblum came back. Ooh, the Spinosaurus. Ooh, the Giganosaurus.
Jurassic World Rebirth. I would say the Jurassic series is like a cash cow on crutches, but goddamn, they can at least afford the healthcare. These movies make $1 billion just for thinking about existing. It doesn't matter if their movies don't have any real effort put in. It just matters that there's dinosaurs on the screen, and while there's a few good moments here and there, it's standard if anything. Scarlett Johansson is usually pretty damn entertaining in her movies, but here, I don't know, she just seems uninterested. I think Jonathan Bailey was more interesting as he was completely normal in this expedition. The dinosaurs are neat, but it's an effect that just wears off when there's 7 movies relying on the idea that dinosaurs came back. This is easily better than the last 2 films, but I don't think that's really a standard considering Dominion is horrible. I will say when they introduced this family with the 2 daughters and the older one's boyfriend, I about thought the movie was dead on arrival, but yeah, they do actually do well with what they're given. I actually got kind of invested in their family turmoil. So, is it a great film? No, but I have seen far worse from this franchise, so whatever. Still looking forward to Evolution 3, alright? Eddington!
What?
You know, Eddington, the Ari Aster movie? The guy who directed Beau is Afraid? Midsommar? Hereditary? Okay, so yeah, every time I mention this movie on here, people genuinely just don't know what I'm talking about. And to be fair, I would say this is probably Aster's worst film, which is more of a send-up to his career thus far. It's a weird western dramedy, not quite anything special or memorable, and I'm gonna say, I'm sick of Pedro Pascal, but Joaquin Phoenix saves what is ultimately just an okay film. Okay, we finally get quality content with Netflix's reality music show, Building the Band. Now, there are some concepts for new reality shows this year that seemed cool but failed in execution. House of Knives, Got to Get Out. Why is there just a picture of Janet Jackson on my screen? Anyways, I was immediately intrigued by the idea of musicians all having to build bands off of voices without seeing anyone. The perfect don't judge a book by its cover setup. Also, it's worth noting, of course, this was all recorded before the untimely death of the beloved Liam Payne. I will admit, I enjoy One Direction's music, but never really got into their solo careers. But seeing Payne in this, it made me aware he was relatively down-to-earth and likable. That clip of his falsetto during One Direction's cover of Teenage Dirtbag will forever stick with me. Dude had chops, if you catch my relay.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
This is a very creative idea, and thankfully, it's executed pretty well. I don't know. I picked up the first 2 Tony Hawk's bundle at a steal during a sale, and I understood the hype. My history with Tony Hawk games have been almost non-existent, but I see why these games stuck. Such with this bundle, while I didn't expect it to be anything different, it still offered me a way to see these games in a new light without ever playing the originals. I guess it proves if you actually bring what people wanted in a remaster Gex trilogy, just because something doesn't blow me away doesn't mean it's any less worthwhile. I'm not going to go into detail on the wonderfully weird world of Gumball due to the fact that I'm working on a cartoon revival video very soon. However, I have to say it's weird to me that we've yet to get a bad revival this year. It remains to be seen with the King of the Hill revival, but Phineas and Ferb came back this year and was phenomenal. And I can safely say, the wonderfully weird world of Gumball, try saying that fast 3 times, I don't know, continues Gumball's bizarre and weird nature perfectly. It sadly represents more of the newer seasons, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I did laugh quite a few times, and it definitely understood the assignment. It's a good job on them. Yeah, I talked about this one recently. Happy Gilmore 2, the sequel to my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Happy Gilmore is a classic in Sandman's lineup, and while the sequel, by the way, 29 years later, didn't quite deliver as well, it's still a solid-ass film. The humor was pretty good, the story was a believable follow-up. Although I feel the son's kind of overshadowed the daughter, you know, the whole point of the film, I don't know. The cameos made me laugh. Just seeing Eminem, of all people in this, made my day. Actually, I do have to address most people's issue with this film is that it almost relies too much on cameos and nostalgia. I guess I can see that. I mean, you'd really have to know the first film and even other Sandler films to get some of these jokes. But if you're an Adam Sandler fan, especially a fan of his older work, you didn't need to rely on a heavy story or family drama. That's not what made the original film. Happy Gilmore worked because it knew how to mix in family drama with Gilmore's grandma, but knew what worked best was to make the film funny and make people laugh. Happy Gilmore is what I define as a perfect comedy, and while the sequel isn't perfect, it's what I wanted out of Happy Gilmore 2. I absolutely am satisfied with what we got. So, how do I do this? I'm sure there are a lot of people who aren't happy with South Park right now. If you don't know, for the 27th season's premiere, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it because my fat ass would be eating, it's an episode that just lays into current sitting president of the United States, Donald Trump. It mocks him specifically with his potential part in getting The Late Show canceled and just a lot of overall things about him. As I've said various times, I don't bring politics into my reviews. If something's funny, I will highlight that. This is one of the funniest goddamn episodes of South Park I've ever watched. This is not a reflection of my thoughts on Trump or how I feel about him, it's just judging off of humor, and in my opinion, not only was it a ballsy move considering Trump is getting a lot of blame for Stephen Colbert getting canceled, but I think it just shows, it doesn't matter what you think, Trey and Matt have always been like this. If you want to say South Park's gone woke or they're now liberal because they did this, they make fun of everyone! Remember the whole Prince Harry and Meghan Markle thing? Or the Kanye West episode? Or the Scientology episode? Or, Jesus Christ, they do this! That's what South Park arguably does best. So they made fun of the president. They made fun of a lot of presidents. It's humor. This is why I can't stand politics, because it makes people not want to laugh. Even if you do support Trump, and I'll say, I don't support everything he says. I'd say about 80 to 85% of what he says makes my skin physically recoil. But that's the thing. No leader is just a perfect person. That's like saying Superman is a perfect person. We're not there yet. So South Park mocked Trump. Cancel them. See what happens. There are plenty of networks waiting to pick it up. You just give Trey and Matt more power when you feed into this. Again, politics aside, this is one of the funniest episodes of South Park I've seen in a while. As a fan who kind of goes in and out of the show at times, I'll be sure to watch more. Okay, so anime. I've been kind of getting a slow taste of it. I started watching Beastars because it would be weird if I watched anything else first. B and A, brand new animal. But I finally decided to check out one that doesn't make my family question me when they walk in on me watching it.
It's just furry porn, I swear.
Dan to Dan, I have heard a lot about this show on Netflix. How the first season is about them trying to get the guy's dick back from a weird cat. The show makes no sense if you haven't watched it. So as is, I'll just be talking about my thoughts on Season 2, which dropped earlier this month. This is a solid follow-up to the first season, once again being one of the weirdest goddamn things I've watched. I guess if I was getting into anime, where something like B&A is tipping your toes into the water, this and Beastars are like getting thrown into the deep end. Not a show I would recommend to everyone, but it's pretty dang weird, that's for sure. I was very skeptical about Fantastic Four First Steps. You have to realize, Marvel has fucked up not once, not twice, not even 3 times, but 4 times featuring the Fantastic Four. Such, with this being their literal introduction to the MCU, I had skepticism about this film. It was the best thing Marvel's put out this year. Yep, I really like this one, and not only that, it really hyped me up for the upcoming Doomsday and Secret Wars. Seriously, next year is going to go so hard for Marvel. We're getting a new Spider-Man and a new Avengers film. I am so hyped for the MCU, I never thought I'd say that again. I'm not going to bore you with the details of Fantastic Four, rather, I want to talk about the casting of each character. Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman was a good casting. She really fits the part, and especially when Baby Franklin comes in, she fits the mother role very well. Joseph Quinn really surprised me as Johnny. Not only is he funny, but I like he's not too hot, if that makes sense. The last 2 castings were Chris Evans and Michael B. fucking Jordan, so you know what I'm saying there, right? As a Bear fan, Eben Moss Bachrach as Ben made my heart happy. Though he couldn't have said cousin or something like when he was cooking with Herbie. Too on the nose? Okay. Yeah, everyone really works. Hi, Pedro Pascal. I am getting so sick of this guy, and dude, I know he died in Multiverse of Madness, but you guys had John Krasinski. Why not use him? He worked. I would have definitely preferred Krasinski. Hell, even the other guy, whatever his name was, Eon Gruffud. Is that his name? I don't know. He was pretty good. Also, for being such a threatening presence, and I literally recoiled seeing the size of him, Galactus is kind of a bitch. I love the family dynamic. The fighting, when it's there, I will say it's not as abundant in this one, but it's still interesting to see these powers work off each other. So yeah, considering we've gotten 4 muck-ups with this team, even if it's not a top 10 MCU film, this is still great. May I say, fantastic. The best TV show I checked out this month was the return of my favorite comedy series, Season 17 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know how there's some shows that go on for too long and lose a lot of their flavor over the years? SpongeBob, Simpsons, you name it. It's Always Sunny turned 20 this year, and somehow it has the opposite effect. Rather than lose its flavor and spunk over the years, it's only gotten better. And this season kicked off hard with not only the long-awaited Abbott Elementary crossover, but also an episode with Frank just in a coma, what the fuck? If you've never watched the series, one of the big points about the show is that it almost goes out of its way to make the entire main cast unlikable. I've never watched Abbott Elementary, but I think the contrasting characters here just makes this crossover hilarious. And don't get me started on the Frank Coma episode. Oh my god, dude. There's 4 episodes as of writing this, and the season apparently ends with the Golden Bachelor episode. I cannot wait. August 20th can't get here soon enough. I will say, maybe the Abbott Elementary crossover was a bit overhyped, but I didn't even care. At one point, Charlie just says, they're not teaching these guys anything. I don't even know what 9/11 is. And I kid you not, from there, it spirals into a conspiracy about 9/11. It just proves it takes smart to write dumb. I absolutely love this show, and this season was not disappointing. The best thing I checked out this month was Superman. Yeah, this was always going to be the most divided film of 2025. On one hand, you have a lot of people who liked the DCEU from Zack Snyder. I can't say I hated all of his movies, but they weren't exactly my favorite. Such, in 2025, we got James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, alongside the only DCEU film I absolutely love, The Suicide Squad, at the helm of the new DCU. And starting us off is Superman. A lot of people were ready to hate this film, and I'm glad to say it really delivered on everything it needed to deliver on. This might be the hottest take I've had all year, unless you've seen my LEGO game ranking, pricks. But this is on par with F1 and Sinners, in my opinion. Not quite to the level where it would be above either of those films, but it's still one of the best I've seen this year. The thing I immediately liked in this film was the look of it. Comic book movies have become a lot like regular action films, and I always thought to myself, I want to see something more akin to that of a real-life comic book coming off the page and onto the screen, and that's what this film delivered. A lot of people like him, a lot of people hate him. I loved David Cornsweet as Superman. He encapsulates that Superman is a symbol of hope, not some god. I don't really hate Henry Cavill's Superman, I think that was more Zack Snyder's fault, but this is what Superman is. Flawed, but a symbol of hope. Also, I really like Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. It really puts in perspective that Lex essentially is a big Superman hater, to where he's willing to let 1 million people die just so he can kill Superman. Hoult played this character beautifully, and I can't wait to see more of him. Also, for once, Lois Lane was actually interesting. Next to Lois in My Adventures with Superman, this was one of the better depictions of her. I like that she was more in the background, but was still able to help Superman when he needed it. And I don't care what anybody says, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was genuinely perfect casting. Fillion's always been good with playing douche characters, and such, this was great. And of course, goddamn Mr. Terrific. I didn't even know who this was before watching this movie, but he became my favorite. If I had to complain, I'd say it's a bit bloated at times, and I think Crypto gets a little too much screen time. He's adorable, don't get me wrong, but just a little too much screen time there, bud. Of course, I have to talk about that. This is the beginning of a cinematic universe that actually worked. Of course, we're getting Supergirl next year, and I can't wait to see how it goes. If James Gunn can keep this consistency, the DCU could eventually rival the MCU. For once, the big rivals of comic books will finally be on par with each other. We actually have a fight between us, a battle to see who can produce the better comic book movies in a year. This is the first time in a long time that I have been so hyped for comic book movies, not since my late teens, when movies like Endgame, No Way Home, all these comic book movies that actually had me excited, and now it's all happening again. Seriously, bring it on, I'm ready, I want to see what comes from this series. James Gunn, you absolute madman, I don't know how you did it, you fuck! Sorry. I don't know how you pulled it off, but congratulations, Superman is my best film and the best thing of July. Xanderman, what's your words of wisdom?